Hi there, this is Heather, Shutterbug 101. Today we'll be going over the Nikon Z series, their full-frame mirrorless cameras. And we'll be doing the walkthrough of the Z6 camera with their kit lens, the 24-70 f4. Let's get started. The Nikon Z series is Nikon's first set of mirrorless cameras, both full frame. The Z6, the model I'm using in this video, is most closely related to the D750, while the Z7 is closely related to the D850. The Z6 has 25 megapixels, more sensitivity to light, features 273 focus points, and shoots at 12 frames per second on its continuous drive. This makes the Z6 ideal for low light situations for photos and video, and the hobbyist that wants the option to shoot a subject in action. The Z7 has 46 megapixels, features 493 focus points, and has a continuous drive of 9 frames per second. This model is ideal for portraits, event photography, close-up photography, and photos that will be printed in large format. Both of the Z models have exactly the same body and weight, in-body stabilization, a tilting LCD touchscreen, 4K video, XQD card slot, and they are environmentally sealed. Today we will be going over the simple overlay of the camera and going through its menu system. Alright, so going over the Z series today. Today we'll be going over the Z6, although the bodies on both the Z6 and Z7 are identical, so something to keep in mind. We're going to go ahead and go over the front of the camera first. Something to know about the kit lens that you get with this camera is, first of all, it is an f4. Now, I find that with this camera, also to remove the lens, you hit this button and turn, that because the sensor is so close to the glass on the camera now, you're actually getting the effect of a 2.8 and you're getting more light intake. So this is not just an everyday f4. It is actually a fantastic kit lens. I find that the biggest complaint with this lens is the locking mechanism, although some find it very, very helpful. For someone that carries it, not in a case, they carry it to their side, the biggest problem with lenses, especially after you've used them a while, is that if you walk with them this way, the barrel of the lens starts to slowly slide out, and that gets frustrating. So this does have a locking mechanism, and it'll let you know as soon as you turn the camera on. Turn the camera on here. It says, before taking photos, rotate the zoom ring to extend the lens. That's its locking mechanism. So you just give it a little bit of force, it clicks right into the 24 spot, and you're ready to take pictures. And then you can zoom out to the 70 to get more distance. And when you're all done, you just put it back to the dot, and it's good to go. We're going to extend it to the 24 for now, just in case we're going to show you everything that's going on with the camera. On this side of the lens, we have a function 1 and function 2 button that we have. These are programmable to whatever shortcuts you want to program them to. Currently, let's see, the F1 button on default is going to be the white balance. The F2 looks like it controls your how it focuses and where it focuses. So your focus point, and if you want it on AFS for autofocus single, so it locks on, or autofocus continuous, so if you're dealing with action, it's moving along. We'll go ahead and go to the sides of the camera here. So on this side of the camera, you can see we do have one single card slot, and this slot is going to be for a XQD card. If an XQD card does not sound familiar, it is something that is kind of in the works to be incorporated in future cameras. It's a highly archival card, so spring-loaded just like an SD card would be. It's a cartridge. Right, so we have our XQD card here. So it's like a little cartridge. It's going to be highly processing. So typically your regular SD card will go maybe 100 megabytes per second. Your grade 2 SD cards, which are high speed processing, you're looking at 200, 300 megabytes at the very most. The XQD card writes at 400 megabytes per second. So buffer is not going to exist at this point. Not to mention it's going to be more durable, it's going to be more archival, so it'll be less of a chance of corruption in your images, loss, that sort of thing. So even though it's one card slot, I mean, it handles everything that you need. On this side of the camera here, we do have quite a few doors. So in this door here, which is one elongated door, it does kind of tell you what we got here. So at the top, that's going to be our USB-C port. That's going to be for transferring pictures to your computer or updating firmware. If you want anything like that, this is going to be our HDMI port. So you can connect it straight to your television set and do like a slideshow of your pictures, that sort of thing. It essentially shows exactly what's on the screen. And then this is going to be the port for a shutter release. So if you want to do long exposure images, that sort of thing there. And then in this door here, we have our headphone and microphone port. Also on the side of the camera, you see that it does display that it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth available, which you'll find on most new cameras, but just so you're aware of that. So the top of the camera here, we'll go ahead and start with our mode dial. So green, as on every camera, as always, is auto. You're letting the camera have full control. If you're just starting out in photography and you haven't quite gotten used to your shutter speed, your apertures yet, you're getting to know this camera, auto is a great mode to be in. And auto is a great mode to be in if you just need to take the image and you don't have time to really think about what setting you need it in. Then we have your P mode, which is going to be your program mode. That's typically going to be your first step off of auto. It's going to essentially give you an automatic recommendation, but allow you to change certain settings. So it helps you learn your shutter speed and your apertures. I do have a video on what P mode does over your auto mode, as well as a video on your aperture mode, which we'll go over here in a moment. It does have a little lock. The S mode is going to be your shutter speed priority. This is going to control how fast you let light into the camera, so it's going to be for capturing motion or showing motion. We have your A mode, which is going to be your aperture priority. That's going to be for getting that nice blurry background on your subject and sharp foreground. Great in low light situations. M is going to be full manual, so you have full control over all aspects of your camera. The camera is not going to help you out at all. And we have U3, U2, U1. Those are all going to be custom modes. So if you wanted to customize how you specifically do video in one of these modes, or for example, how I do regular lighting in my videos, and I found the perfect setting for my camera to work on, I could set it to one of my custom modes. And if I go outside, I go shooting outside, and I come back to shoot in regular lighting again, all I have to do is switch to the mode that I saved it in. So it's kind of a nice little feature if you, if you take pictures in a studio or something like that. We do have our little display screen here. So it does kind of give us a summary of what's going on. So like right now, it wants to take it at 1/30th of a second, aperture f4, ISO is on auto at 400. And on the card currently, I can take 607 pictures. I'm taking single photos right now, not a continuous drive, and then I have my battery level. So it gives you pretty much all of your, right away necessary things here. It's not too overcrowded, which is nice. We have our on and off switch right by our shutter button. Push halfway down to focus, push all the way down to take the picture. For video, you do have a video switch on the back here, so you would switch to the little video camera. Push this once to start recording, push it again to stop recording. We have our ISO, which is going to be image sensitivity. I personally like to, unless I'm doing long exposures where I need the low numbers for sharpness, I'll typically keep my ISO on auto and adjust the sensitivity accordingly. So I'll have the camera choose between ISO 100 and 3200 at its max, because this guy goes up to 51,800 or something like that, and I can't justify going that high, but hey, when it comes to getting a picture, you get the picture. We have our exposure button here. So if we click this button, okay, and then we hold it down and adjust it, you can see that on the screen here, it's going to get brighter or darker. So it's an easy way to adjust it if you need it just a hint lighter, a hint darker, without changing any major settings. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and go over the, well, we'll go over the bottom of the camera. We haven't gone over the bottom of the camera yet. So we have our regular tripod mount, nothing too special about that. We have our battery door here, so it's just going to hold the battery. To pop out the battery, you're going to hit that lever, it's going to pop right out. It does give you a little diagram there to show which direction to put the battery in, so it's a little foolproof for you. And then now we'll go to the back of the camera. Brush that off. So, starting at the top here, we have our playback button, which will display any pictures that we've taken. Right now, it's just me. That's me doing the video, I guess. What else is on here? Oh, my keyboard, my where I put my my SD card into with my USB ports. So that's pretty neat. Okay, yeah, I don't know if I need to go over that. Okay, so we have our play button here, which is going to display the pictures that you've already taken. You just scroll forward or backward through them on your directional pad. You have your trash can button to, of course, delete any pictures that you don't want. We've already kind of gone over the video versus the photographs. And then this button is to change the display, how you want to change the display on here. So there's like just the information. There's kind of it laid out on the outside. A little bit more simple. You have your histogram, and then that I believe is supposed to be a level. I'm not really sure on that one. So it really just depends on what you want to go for. I like this simple one here. You have your diopter, which is going to be up here. You're going to actually pull this out and then adjust it accordingly to your eye. We have our back button autofocus in case that was more comfortable for you. You have your joystick, so if you wanted to move your point over specifically without touching the screen, you could do that as well. We have our information button, which is actually going to be our quick menu for this camera. So on this camera, this little quick menu here is going to be able to keep you from digging into the actual menu for when you need things. So for example, we go and start at the top here. We have our picture control, which is going to set like color tones, vivid color, black and white, that sort of thing. We have our white balance, which I would keep on auto for the most part, because your camera is really good at determining what white should typically be. We have our image size, which I'm taking it in RAW right now. Yeah, you could take it, so here you would choose like your quality in RAW and JPEG. I go large all the way, it gives me more availability in editing. And then if you want RAW and JPEG, just RAW or just JPEG, I'm just shooting in RAW for now. We have your flash mode if you did have a flash to put on the mount here on your hot shoe. We have your metering mode, which I like to be center metering for myself. But here you have matrix metering, which is considering the whole image. Center weighted, which is considering the center, and then you have spot metering, which is considering wherever you want to meter for in the image. So it could be offset, something like that. And then you have highlight weighted metering, which is interesting. Like I said, I prefer center. Let me go back here. All right, then we have active D lighting. I personally would keep that off. Wi-Fi connection, so if you wanted to turn that on, connect your phone to it, you can transfer images straight from the camera to your phone, or you can use your phone as a remote control. Your release mode, so this is going to be your drive mode. So the S with the square around it is going to be one single photo. We have continuous low and continuous high. That means that this camera at continuous high is going to take pictures at like 12 frames per second. Low, I believe, is like 6 frames, about half. And then you have your timers as well. Then we have our vibration reduction, our stabilization. You want to keep this on unless you are on a tripod, then you want to make sure it's turned off. You have your focus mode, so what I was going with earlier that's connected to our, I believe it's the F2 button on the front of the camera. AFS, which locks on a single subject, not moving. AFC, autofocus continuous, which continually moves as the subject moves. And then you have full-on manual focus. All right, and then we have autofocus area mode, which is like a single point, pinpoint, teeny tiny, wide area autofocus large, small, and then auto area focus where you're letting the camera kind of determine it's going to be front priority. I personally like single point focus, so I pick exactly where I want it to pick, but maybe not so small as pinpoint. Right, and then just to exit out of any menus or anything like that, if you want to get back to shooting, you just can tap your shutter button halfway down that exits right out. Let's see, you have your confirmation OK button and your directional pad. We have our menu, which we'll get into here in a minute. Your magnifying glasses, which you can zoom into pictures after you've taken them to make sure they're in focus. You can also pinch and pull like you can with your phone when it comes to zooming. And then you have a shortcut drive button mode here, as well as in your quick menu. So something to keep in mind there. So now we'll go ahead and get into the menu. Okay, so the first menu on this camera is going to be our playback menu. So here you'll be able to delete your pictures. You can, check your image review. Like for me, I want to be able to review my images a little bit after I take the picture. Let's see. After burst show, if you want it to show you the entire burst. If you want it to automatically rotate your pictures, if you took a vertical shot, you can do a slideshow. So very basic things here. The photo shooting menu, you can reset it right at the top. If maybe you tried something, you're like, okay, now I don't know what I did. You can just reset it as default. You can change the storage folder names. You can choose the image area. You can do your image quality, very similar to your quick menu. Image size, same thing. ISO sensitivity settings, so kind of like I was saying earlier, I have it set to going between 100 and 8000. I feel like this is a good balance for this camera. Let's see. You have, again, white balance, color space, keep it on RGB. Let's see. A lot of these you're just never going to change. You do flicker reduction shooting, which is going to help you when you're shooting under fluorescent lights when it comes to video. Your metering, again, more flash modes, your focus modes, things that you can find on your quick menu. Vibration reduction, auto bracketing, that sort of thing. You can do time-lapse, interval timer as well, and silent photography in case you were in a situation where maybe you didn't want to be very loud, you want to be a little bit respectful. Movie shooting, it's really going to be the same settings, it's just for specifically your movies. Then you have your custom settings. So these are going to be a little bit more buried, but not too bad of a layout when it comes to their menus. So you have your different autofocus ones here. So you have your different autofocus settings here. You do auto area autofocus eye detection, which I personally love if you're taking pictures of people. Focus points used, if you want all of them or a limited amount. Store points by orientation. A lot of these, like I said, not gonna use it. Let's see. I mean, you're gonna keep all of these the same. Let's see. Self timer, power off delay. So like, let's see, if I was doing my standby timer, I personally want that a little bit longer than 30 seconds. I'd probably put it to like 5 minutes because sometimes I'll take my time with my camera and I don't want it to go to sleep right away. And then let's see, playback, same thing. I'd probably do it to like 1 minute. I go back here. Let's see, you got your continuous low shooting speed. So you can choose how low you want that to be. You can go up to 5, I guess. Let's see. Although the thing is, if you're going to shoot in continuous, I feel like the higher the speed, the better. So I would personally just use the high where you're shooting at 12 frames per second. We have our shutter type. Let's see, framing grid display. So if you need a grid put across your screen to help you compose, if you're very popular for cutting off heads or limbs, or you feel the need to crop, your grid can help you compose those shots a little bit easier. You have your more flash settings for when you have a flash. Let's see, customizable menu. So if you wanted to customize that quick menu, if there are certain things where you're like, I already have a drive menu button right down here. I don't really need it in my quick menu too. You can program that to be something else if you wanted to. Custom control assignment, like those function buttons on the front. You can program the OK button to do something. So it's all very customizable. Same thing there. Same thing for like movie, if you wanted to do something different for movie for your custom buttons. But that pretty much sums up those custom settings there. You have your basic setup menu. Formatting your memory card is really important. I go over it every time I go over a camera because a lot of people are unaware what format memory card really does. And you either never learned about it or you learned about it the hard way. It's usually how it happens. But formatting your memory card is much better than deleting it with the trash can. And every now and then you do want to format your card. And the reason you want to do that is, say you're about to go on vacation. You just took pictures of events or in your backyard or wherever, and you want a completely clean card. You want to go into your setup menu. You want to go to format memory card after you've backed up your pictures to your computer. Make sure your pictures are backed up to your computer, because formatting your memory card will permanently delete everything on the card and start it over as new. So when you delete with the trash can, it's just taking those files and putting them into a recycling bin that's temporary. So even though you can't see the pictures, the data is still there. So it's really important to format your memory card and get rid of those pictures, because that recycling bin can get full and it can corrupt future images, which you don't want. So something to keep in mind. Okay, you have save user settings, reset user settings, you change the language, time zone and date, monitor brightness. So it's all really just kind of custom stuff for the camera itself. If you want to clean the image sensor, so if you have a non-computer lens, you can change that. You can put like image comments and copyright information on your images. You can turn the beep on or off. I personally like the beep on to give me that confirmation that it's focused. So something to keep in mind there, that you can turn that on and off. I like the touch controls on. Some people don't. Your HDMI settings, your location data, airplane mode. Yes, this does have airplane mode because it does have a Wi-Fi signal. Connect to a smart device, connect to your PC, as long as it has Bluetooth. Battery info, reset all settings, your firmware version. It's all very self-explanatory. You have your retouch menu, which it's like editing inside your camera, but I would personally not like to edit on a 3-inch screen. I like to edit on my computer screen. The retouching menu is just good if you need to straighten, distortion control, just, stuff that you absolutely need to do. Maybe you don't have access to Photoshop right now. And then you have My Menu, which is, you can pick things out of these menus here, add them to your own menu, so you don't have to dig through these, and maybe they're not available on your quick menu, so you just actually access My Menu and everything's right there. It's this Nikon. I'm typically not a Nikon person, but this Nikon, I really like. They did a great job with it. It has a really nice grip to it. It's easy to take pictures with. It has a really simple layout. I think that's what I love the most about it, is because I find that with Nikon DSLRs, there's just so many buttons and doors and features that I'm overwhelmed myself. And I had worked with Nikon for 2 years. So when it comes to this camera, I love the simplicity. I love that everything's very straightforward, and I love the quality I get out of it. Not to mention, I'm just a mirrorless shooter naturally. So if you guys have any questions about this camera that I didn't answer, Please leave a comment below if you have another camera you would like me to cover. Also leave that in the comments below as well. Until next time, keep your eye out for inspiration, Shutterbugs. Bye.